Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Well, it is the new year, not the first one of the new year, the second one, but happy new year for those of you who I missed last week. I'm Michelle O'Neill, your boundary strategist. And let me make sure that you can hear me. If you can hear me, go ahead and let me know. If this is your first time here, go ahead and make sure you put hashtag newbie. And if you've been here before, let me make sure. Let's see. I think, okay, if you've been here before, go ahead and put hashtag legacy. Again, I'm Michelle O'Neill, your boundary strategist and purposeful living coach. And I teach and mentor heart-centered, high-achieving women how to create and execute their personal life blueprint for creating that purposeful life, extraordinary life that they're looking to live. And so thank you for being here with me today. Go ahead and let me know where you're from. And let's see, what do I want you to do today? Tell me what your word is for the new year. I would love to hear. So go ahead and tell me who you are, where you're from, and what your word is for today. So today it's all about those mind shifts that we need to have. Of course, we're in a new year, so we're ready to start all over again. So let's go ahead and look at what things we can do to make those shifts in our lives to gain peace of mind. Now, I know things have been crazy over the last couple of months, and now we just want to slow it down a little bit. And so, what can we do to slow it down a bit? What are the things that we can do to make sure we have that peace of mind in our lives? What do we need to do to make sure that we can have joy and good vibrations and hold on to them in our lives? So there are 7 mind shifts that I want you to know about. But before I go ahead and talk to that, I want you to, you're like, well, everything's fine. Well, how do you know that you're not living in a space of peace of mind right now? Well, I want to ask you, are you at odds with yourself? And what I mean by this is it's almost what they say double-minded is when you're doing one thing and saying another, or what you're doing just isn't jiving with each other. You know, Paul says, who's a great theologian, he says that, you know, the things that I don't want to do, I do. And the things that I know that I should do, I don't. And that's how we are. How many times in our lives have we said, you know I should do this, but you just didn't have the motivation or the drive or the desire to do it. And the things that you didn't want to do, they seem so easy to you. And so this is a struggle that we have constantly. And part of it is about a commitment to 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 ourselves. And so some of the things we do, one of the things I want to talk about is like in the workplace or at home when we commit to a job, a position, or a program, being a part of something that we really don't want to do it, but we do it because of many different reasons. Reasons like because we don't want to let people down, because it's expected of us, because we'll be liked more, because of the prestige. There are so many different reasons that we do things that we don't want to do. And so if you're in a place like that where you find that you're always doing things and you really don't want to do them, or there's a disconnect in your thoughts and your values and the things you do and the things you believe, when you find yourself doing things that, you know, I'm not 100%, I don't like this, I don't agree with this, but I'm gonna do it because everybody else is doing it. Those things do not give you the peace of mind that you seek. And we find ourselves in a space in life where we're just going through the motions. We're just doing things because it's expected of us, or we're doing things because of what we gain or the benefit that we feel we gain on the other end. But is that good for us? How do you feel when you're doing things that you really don't want to do, or you feel put upon, or you feel taken advantage of it? I don't have peace of mind with that. I don't have peace of mind with myself. And it makes me angry and frustrated with those around me. And then the thing is, we find ourselves so in a sense of gratification, but it's just surface. We get that surface gratification of people patting you on the back and say, hey, great job. Hey, that was great. But what does that really mean? Do we feel that sense of joy of accomplishment? Do we feel that contentment in knowing that we did something that is in alignment and really speaks to who we are? Absolutely not. So, what are the things? Now we're getting into it. What are the 7 things that we can do? What are the 7 best practices? What are the 7 mind shifts? And these are nothing new. I mean, I'm not telling you rocket science stuff, but the problem is most of the time we don't follow through. Maybe it's a lack of understanding of how these things really play out in our lives. Or maybe the pain just isn't deep enough. You know that saying? We won't make a change to the pain, and I always get it wrong. The pain to remain the same is greater than the pain to change. Got it right off. That's when we make a change. So let's dive right in. Number one mind shift is understanding accountability. So right now, it's the new year, right? And we're excited. Let's take exercise or eating or a different habit. And we're excited. It's new, it's exciting, we're passionate about it. And we know, hey, we really want this and we're going to do this. And then what happens in 2 weeks? The the excitement starts to wear off, and it begins to be work. It begins to be more of a commitment, something I have to stick to, something that maybe I didn't want it as much as I thought I did, right? And so what do we do when that momentum and that passion and that excitement starts to wane, when it becomes hard to be committed? So that's why it's so important to have an accountability coach, friend, family member, or resources to help you. And I'll talk a little bit more about those a little bit down. But what accountability does for you is having someone to check on you, someone that sees how you're progressing, even when you don't. You ever notice that it's like losing weight? And when you lose weight, people always see it in your face way before you do, because you're kind of used to seeing yourself. Or when you have grandkids, which I do, and you've been away for a month or you haven't seen them in a month, and then you see them again and you go, oh my gosh, you've grown so much. That's what those accountability people in your lives are for, is seeing when you progress and pointing it out to you. And they're there to listen to your struggles and your doubts. They're there to lift you up and give you additional insights, things you didn't think about, perspectives that you didn't see before. I always tell my clients that you want to see 3 perspectives. You want to see your perspective. You want to see someone's perspective that cares about you, that is vested in you, invested in you. And then you want to see someone's perspective that is not invested in you, that sees things totally objectively from a totally different perspective. You want all 3 of those perspectives in your lives. And these people also, not only do they have additional insight, but they remind you of your initial reasoning for doing what you're doing. Maybe you wanted to lose that weight because you wanted to fit into a dress that you needed to wear as one of the bridesmaids for a wedding in May. But when you're going through the pain of working out, when your body aches, when you got to get up first thing in the morning, you're not thinking about why. And that's what these accountability people in your life do. They remind you of the why of your commitment, why it's important to you, and what you said you wanted to do in the beginning. And so it's important to have these accountability coaches in our lives, these resources, whether it be an app, something on your phone to remind you, hey, it's time to work out. Hey, did you get up and drink water today? Have you moved that 150 steps that you're supposed to move every hour? Have you eaten something good today? It's time to go to sleep, whatever it is, whatever you use, whatever person or part of a group that you're part of, you need the accountability people in your life. And then number two is support. And you're probably looking at me like, support? Really? Isn't accountability and support the same thing? Absolutely not. They're similar, but they're not the same. You know, accountability, they're vested in your goal. It's a, how do we say, it's a transactional relationship. It's all about where you're going and what you want to do. They're here to make sure that you meet those goals. But and they're there to make sure that you do the things that you want to accomplish. You see, they're vested into your destination. But the support people, they're the ones who are not necessarily invested in your goal. In fact, some of them don't even care where you're going, but they love you. They are there to support you, to encourage you, to lift you up, to give you resources. They're the one that say, hey, I know somebody that I have what do they call, a gym coach, someone who can help you get to that to that thing that you desire. They can help you lose weight. Let me turn you on to them. Those are the people that support you. Those are the people that will give you resources to help you expand on your knowledge. Those are people who tell you about the best book that they just read, the things that they think that you need to know, the new information that they just got. They're the ones that are needed mostly during your doubt and struggles, because you know they have your best interest at heart. The only thing is you have to be careful that these people who are supporting you and you're listening to you and you're basking in all that, that they're not telling you things because they want and they love you, but also things that are the best for you as well. Because sometimes our friends tell you things because they know that it's what you want to hear, right? Always. These people are your cheerleaders. They want to spur you on and say, yes, they want to celebrate with you. Woohoo! Right? They want to celebrate each step of the way, your milestones. I have some friends in my life that are both. They keep me accountable, but they celebrate with me. They support me. So it's not that they can't be both, but both of these type people needs to be in your life. Your thing is to ask about this person is, are they vested? Are they invested? Or are they uninvested? Is it all about where I'm going, my destination? Or is it about me? Or even is it about both? You know, number 3 is my most favorite. In fact, I'm going to read you a statistic if you hang in there with me. It's about number 3 is inner work. Yeah, I said it. The big I word. It's about working on the inside. Do you know that 90%, 95% of brain work is unconscious? It's the stuff you don't know. So you're only using 5% of your brain on the things that you know. So the next thing you think you know it all, next time you think you know it all, and you're that type of girl, remember, you're only using 5% of what you know. Because a lot of it is unconscious thoughts, emotions, feelings, things that are deeply buried and they're uncovered. And so that's why it's so important to do this, to do the inner work. You want to know 100%, 360 degrees who you are, who you were designed to be. And that's how you want to step out and live your purposeful life. You know, when we do that inner work, it uncovers our thoughts, things that it's not that we didn't know all the time, but they're things that we don't even want to admit to ourselves. How many times have someone asked you something or you've done something and you don't even want to say that, yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, I gossip about people. Yeah, I talk about people. I'm not always the kindest. How many times have you said things like that to yourself? But you don't even want to admit it. You don't want to think of yourself as unkind. You don't want to think of yourself as judgmental, prejudiced. You don't want to think that that is who you are. And until you do that inner work and see those innermost thoughts and feelings and emotions, there's a lot that's uncovered. And it's those uncovered thoughts and beliefs that you react on. It's not always the things that are uncovered and on the surface. You ever do something and wonder, why did I do that? That doesn't seem like me. Because those are things that are inside. And those are the things that are hard to do on our own. That's why we need other people. And so, I always have something for you to do, right? And so I want you to make a list of your top 10 things that are stinking thinking. And the reason we're doing this is because when you do the inner work, that's when you have the ability to correct your stinking thinking. So what is stinking thinking? That's that negative self-talk. That's those aspects of yourselves that you don't like. The thing that, let's say, every time someone asks you a question so you don't look bad, you tell a lie. But the bad thing about lies is you got to remember them. That's why I don't like telling lies, because usually I'll mess up somewhere down the line because I can't remember what I said earlier. And so when you uncover this stinking thinking, negative thoughts, those things about yourself, you're able to hold yourself accountable to the reactions that you have. And number 4, we're over halfway there. Woohoo! It's motivation. How do you do something? How do you keep going? How do you keep pushing through if you don't know your motivation? What happens when your motivation fails, huh? Your motivation is what drives your actions. It's what makes you get up in the morning. It's what makes you do things when you don't feel like it. You have to have that motivation. And sometimes it's going to be either your motivation or someone else's. So wouldn't it be great if your motivation was your own? What if you were the driving force behind what you did? Because when it's someone else's, it could be something like, is it money? that's driving you? Is it to be rich? To have $1 million? To just be able to put food on the table? Is it money? Is it society? Is it wanting to do what everyone else does? Doing what society says is correct? Thinking like the general public and everyone else? Being a part of the crowd? Is it because you want accolades? You want people to notice you, give you credit, celebrate you, tell you you're the greatest thing? Is it other people's opinions? Is it wanting to feel loved? Wanting likes? Wanting acceptance from others that's driving you? Is that why you do the things that you don't really want to do, just to get their notice and attention? And this is so important to understanding why you do the things you do and how to correct the things that you're not happy. If you don't always want to be doing things because of what other people say to you, or how other people's make you feel, or something that you saw on a Facebook feed, if you don't always want to get thrown down that perpetual rabbit hole, chase that new shiny object, then you need to know how to manage. How do you manage your motivation? You have to know what it is. And so I have a gift for you. And I want to go ahead and put it up here. Make sure. But I have a special gift for you. And I'm going to put the link up here so you know what it is. And the link is https://masteringyourmonday.life/quiz. Because I have a free, absolutely free quiz for you to take to find out what is your motivation driver. Who are you? What are these 4 categories drive you to make the decisions you make? But not only that, once you take the quiz and complete it, I will send to you in your inbox an amazing in-depth report. And then you have the opportunity at the end of your quiz to set up an opportunity for me to review your results with you. All you have to do is go over them, set that appointment up at the end of your quiz, and we get to spend some time together to go ahead and go over your results. And so that's my gift to you. And now on to number 5, right? Commitment, the C word, the dreaded C word. Commitment, that's a hard one for me. One of the reasons is it's not easy. But what really, really holds me back is that we have to let our yay be yay and our no be no. And so it becomes a sense of integrity. It's when I tell someone that I want to do something or that I'm going to do something, hell or high water, I am going to make sure I do it. Or I will come back to you, ask your forgiveness, and tell you why I can't complete it or why I didn't do it. But you can best believe I will try to get to you before if I can't keep a commitment. A commitment is a declaration of owning the responsibility of saying that I'm going to do something for you. It's a promise to yourself to follow through on something that you said that you're going to do. And so commitments, wow, they're so big. Commitments are that inner accountability that's so necessary to sustaining right commitment, right alignment to yourself. It's when your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your actions all align up in the integrity of who you are. When we talk about values and beliefs, I think integrity, if not my number one, is within the top three. Honesty is right there with it. And there is a difference between honesty and integrity. And if you want to know, go ahead and ask me in the comments, and we'll have a conversation on it. Number 6, almost there, is assessments. How do you get through life without assessing what was done before, where you are now, and where you want to go? It is so important to revisit and reassess your progress. It's kind of like your car. You know, a lot of times when we're driving, we hit bumps, the tire hits the curves, we hit potholes, and there's so many things that happen and we get out of alignment. And so when we start veering to the right and we start looking at, okay, we take our hands off the steering wheel for a couple of seconds. Remember I said a couple of seconds. And we realize the car isn't going right. That's an assessment. That's when we look at things and try to figure out, okay, where am I now? What's going on now? It's veering to the left. Okay, that means I need to get this car in to get in alignment, because it's pulling me off course. It's pulling me in a direction that I don't want to go. And that's what we need to do with our lives. We have to look at where we are. But before that, we have to look at all the things we did right now over this last year. What are the things that we did this last year? We look at our financial things. What are the things we did financially? What are the things we did in our personal life? The good things, the bad things, the things that we want to keep and the things that we want to throw away. And then we say, okay, now all these happen. What growth did I see happen? What new things did I learn, and where am I now? And then we look at, okay, this is where I am now, huh? I'm good with this, but I'm not good to stay here. And now we say, where do I want to go? What is my next goal? Where do I want to be at the end of days? What do I want said about me? What is the legacy that I want to leave? What is the goal I want for next month, next year? Where am I looking? And is what I'm looking at, what I'm doing now, does it align up to where I want to go? That's how we assess our life. And we can take it to small amounts. The next 90 days. The next 6 months. The next year. The next 5 years. To eternity. But how do you plan the trip? The journey? If you don't know where you're going. And so we want to assess along our life where we are, where we've been, because this helps mitigates the risk. When you know what you dealt with in the past, you know where your downfalls are. You know the things that may pop up. And it helps determine the next steps for where you want to go, because you're already looking at a year down the road. And so you know where you want to go, right? And so it helps you look at the risk and determine the next steps. But more than that, I believe that this is something that you want to do every 90 days, every 3 months. Why do you think people make planners 90 days? Because you need to see a milestone, some accomplishment, something to celebrate along the way, right? And if you can't do it every 3 months, how about at least every 6 months? And then number 7, our final, rest and recovery. You say you want peace of mind. It doesn't come without rest and recovery. Are you finding that you're tired all the time and you're feeling drained? That your thoughts and your processes, your way of thinking through things, of making decisions is not sharp. Girlfriend, you're tired. I know I'm tired. And I know when I don't get at least 7 hours of sleep, oh, I am no good for the long haul for the next day. And so we have to look at all that's going on around us. The fact that day in and day out, we are being constantly overstimulated. We're overstimulated with information, our feelings, our emotions, our actions. We're constantly on the go because this is an instant gratification world that we live in right now. You know, I believe that most of you couldn't even stay here for 15 minutes because you're ready to go on to the next thing, to the next shiny object, right? And so rest and recovery are so important because they give the body and the brain time to repair themselves. Your brain can't continually go fully stimulated for an over extended amount of time. It has to shut down and release the toxins and allow itself to rejuvenate. Because if we don't, we can't fight against the sluggishness that is in our lives, being tired all day, pushing yourself, and not feeling like it. We can't. I can't. I need my rest. I need to relax. I need 5 minutes of down quiet time at least twice a day. Or by 7 o'clock, you get absolutely nothing from me. I'm telling you. And so we need to be able to make sure that we are sharp so that we can have the best judgment, that we're not dealing with a lack of good judgment. Hey, I don't want you making any decisions for me if you're not rested and in the full capacity of your brain power. Remember, you only got 5% because the rest is hidden. So I need 100% of your 5% when you're helping me out. And it helps you deal with overreacting. When you shut down and allow your brain and your body to repair itself, to release those toxins, exercise, sweat it out, whatever. But you have to let your body deal with this natural process. And when we are constantly going, when we are constantly stimulated, it can't happen. And so I want to go back over that. How I say, let's start here. The first thing is I want you to determine in your life a time to stop and shut down every day. And then I want you to just do it. And I wanted to make sure I said that to you before I recapped with you the seven mindsets that we need to incorporate in our lives to make sure that we have peace of mind. And I told you they're nothing new, but I want you to look at them with an open and new perspective. I want you to understand just how detrimental they are to your life. And so number 1 is accountability. Who are you going to allow to keep you accountable in your life? Number 2 is support. Who's your cheerleaders? Those that encourage you, lift you up, and celebrate with you, but will tell you the truth also. Who are those that will spur you on and are invested in you? And then number 3 is inner work. Are you ready to do the inner work, the things that you need to do? Are you ready to uncover those unconscious thoughts and emotions that most times you're not ready to deal with? Are you ready to make that list of your 10 top stinking thinking things? Number 4 is motivation. What's driving you? What's your why? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Is it people? Is it money? Is it accolades? Or is it because you know that there is something bigger out there for you? And number 5 is commitment, that dreaded C word. Let your yay be yay and your no be no. It's all about integrity in your life. Number 6 is assessment. Let's look at what happened before, what you learned, where your mistakes were, where you are now. Be content where you are now, but it doesn't mean that you rest there, because I want you to look at where you're going and start setting the steps up to get there. And number 7, we just finished talking about rest and recovery. We have to allow our mind and our bodies from the overstimulation of our everyday life to rest and recover. And so you may want to just stay right where you are, and that's fine. If you're happy with dealing with your life right where it is, if you just want to move through your days coping with what life throws to you, then great. But there are risks to remaining the same. And if you want to change, then you have to realize that there are some things that you have to be aware of and know that you're not getting it wrong. So if you're not in alignment, then something's off. And you may need to go through these 7 mindset shifts. If you're constantly beating yourself up, if you're living on fumes, going day to day, completely tapped out, if you're always giving yourself negative self-talk, back to beating yourself up, if you're confused about your self-wealth, if you're confused about your value and what you really bring into the table, why you? Ask yourself, why you? That will keep, why you? Why you over anybody else? If you're dealing with internal struggles and you're worried about how everybody else sees you, then maybe you need to do these 7 mindset shifts. You know, you may think that you can keep going at this pace. Yeah, you can. But it will come out. How many people have told me, how many of my clients and friends have told me, I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm frustrated. I am stressed. That's it coming out. That's that lack of peace and contentment showing its face in your life. It will hinder your contentment. If you don't get that peace of mind, you continue to play small because you don't see yourself in the reality of who you are and what you bring to the table. You will shortchange yourself. You won't give yourself all the coins you deserve. You know, it's back to that alignment thing. When we don't fix that misalignment in our lives, those weak areas in our lives, whether it be a relationship, whether it be your job, your family, your community, your church. But whatever one area is weak in your life, it would spill over and cause disruption and weaknesses in the other areas, because they have to shift and make compensation for your weak area. They're going to have to make up for those missed feelings, those not satisfied feelings in your life. You're going to seek that feeling in other areas. If you don't feel loved by your spouse, your significant others, you're going to seek love somewhere else. Or you're going to work hard and cover up that desire and that need, become a workaholic. So that's why alignment and assessments are so important. Understanding where you are. If you're not in alignment, it causes the full machine to suffer fatigue and illness and stress. And us as humans, discouragement. We become discouraged because we're not moving or getting to the place that we want to, because we're not on that straight and narrow road that we know that will get us on a journey. We keep moving and veering off track. Alignment is so important. Never correct. You will never correct what you don't know is misaligned. And the consequences to misalignment is detrimental to your success and well-being. And so if you have this alignment, which encompasses your peace of mind, life is exceedingly better. Ask me, I know. You get to wake up each morning with a sense of calm. When you've built on this, the evidence, the assessment, knowing your life, knowing where you want to, you have that unshakable truth, that understanding of who you are and where you're going. And so you're not easily distracted from your purpose. You are equipped to handle the unexpected because you have that support and that accountability in your life. You are equipped and you have high expectations because you know your options and possibilities that are out there. There is nothing that you can't do if you really wanted to. You know what you bring to the table. You know your options. And you understand the value of looking at the possibilities. And finally, there's no fear of competition or being powerless because you are fully aligned to who you are. And it doesn't matter. The only person you're in competition with is yourself. The only person that you want to get better than is who you used to be. It doesn't matter what someone else did, because more than likely, let me tell you, girlfriend, you don't want to walk in the shoes, those hills that they had to walk in to get to where they're going. It may be one size too small or many sizes too small. Look, it has been wonderful sitting here with you today on the meeting place. And so if you want clarity on what possibilities are there for you, if you want to build on the life that you have right now and make it greater and grander, if you want help, assistance, accountability, and support, then I want to share with you one of the new tools that I'm using in my business. And it's an app called Volley, and I love it because it gives me the ability to share with you and give you what I call on demand coaching, because it puts me in your pocket right there on your phone. It's asynchronous coaching where we talk to each other, but you don't have to be there. It doesn't take up your time. And I invite you to check it out. In fact, let me go ahead and put that up there. I invite you to join me on https:// me.volley.app/Michelle O'Neill. Come on and join me there and find out the fun on Volley, and let me help you. Let me help you clarify what the possibilities for you and your life on a purposeful journey. Thank you for being here again with me on the meeting place, the safe space for knowing and learning the strategies to help you live that extraordinary life on your purposeful journey. Until next time, take care. I loved our time together. Bye-bye.